So right now we chose our tool type over here in the toolbar. Then we chose our presets for the tool over in the presets palette. And we select our color over here in the color palette. That might seem simple, but it's not simple enough. In boarding, wasted seconds add up quickly. So we want to make our tool switching as quick as possible by using the Tool Presets panel. Just go up to Windows, Toolbars, Tool Presets, and then place this toolbar somewhere convenient. Now, if you remember in our video on tool presets in Photoshop, this should seem pretty familiar. You set up a drawing tool with the settings and color you want, and add it as a preset to this toolbar. You can do this with the pencil, the brush, the eraser, or the shape tools. However, the tool presets in Storyboard Pro are even more useful than in Photoshop. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to set up a brush tool and then click this button to add it to my list. And you'll see we have a bunch of options. We can give it a name, then set an image to use as its button. And if you want to get really fancy, you can even create your own image and browse for it here. Then you can set up a keyboard shortcut for the tool. That way you can switch tools without even having to move your pen away from the drawing. Then down here we have different settings that you can choose to save along with the tool or not. We can save our current color with the tool, like we've seen before. And then this next one is very cool. You can set the tool to draw on a particular layer. When we switch to this tool, if a layer with this name and type exists, it will automatically switch to it. If it doesn't exist, it will create it. So it can save you time switching and managing layers too. Then we can choose to save the draw behind setting as either on or off, in case that's important for how the tool works. And then you can also save the auto flatten settings as either on or off. Let's look at how the default tools here are set up to get an idea of how you could use these. Click this gear icon to get the Manage Tool Presets window. To start with, here we have Rough. It's a blue brush, and you can see it's set to draw on a layer called Rough. Then we have Clean, which is a black brush meant for doing clean line work. It currently doesn't have a layer setting, but I want to give it one. I want to draw on a layer called Clean, but I can't set that here yet. First, I need to create that layer on this panel. Then if I go back to the manager, now I have it as an option to choose from for the brush preset. Now you might think you're supposed to click Update, but don't do that. The Update button will change this preset to the settings for the current tool in the tool properties. When you make changes down in this section, you don't need to click Update. Then we have a gray brush called Shading. It doesn't have a layer, but it does have the Draw Behind setting set to on. Then lastly, we have the Revision brush, which is for drawing notes on a layer called Revisions. Lastly, I want to assign shortcuts to all these tools. Now we can assign it to a shortcut slot, but if you look at the drop-down, all of the shortcuts here say unassigned. That's because the actual key combinations for the preset shortcuts are defined in the general settings for Storyboard Pro, not within the preset itself. So I'll go to the Storyboard Pro preferences, and here on the Shortcuts tab, there's a section for tool presets. We have slots for 0 through 9, and I'm just going to fill all of these with option and their number. Then click OK and go back to managing our presets. And now in our dropdown, we can assign those shortcuts. So I'm just going to do that for all 4 of these default presets. Then let's see how it works. I'm going to get rid of all our layers except the BG one. Then I'm going to switch to the Rough tool with our keyboard shortcut. and you'll see it created that rough layer, and now I'm drawing with the blue rough drawing brush. Now I'm going to hit the shortcut key for the clean brush, and now I'm on a clean layer. Then I'm going to turn on the auto light table feature down here. It makes layers other than the one you're drawing on semi-transparent. That makes it easier to draw over top of the rough layer on this clean layer. Now I'm going to switch to the shading brush, and since that comes set to draw behind, I can shade underneath my lines here. I'm changing the size of the brush as I go using the right and left bracket keys. This default tone is pretty light. That's something I would fix when I set up my own presets. And then switch to the revision brush and make some notes. So I was able to do all that on separate layers without having to waste any clicks switching tools or switching layers. That's the power of the tool presets. Now, let's say we created a set of tools and we want to save them. So back in the manager, we can click Export, pick exactly the tools that we want to save, and click Export to save an XML file with our brush presets. And when you need to import a set of presets, just click Import and find the XML file. In the files that come with this course, you'll see I've saved a set of presets with the tools I'll be using in the boarding demo later on. Let's look at those now. I have a blue rough brush that draws on a layer called rough. Then I have a black clean brush that draws on a layer called line. Then I made a lighter brush just for drawing in those floor and ceiling grids on a separate layer called grid. Then I have a brush for doing arrows that draws on its own arrow layer. Then I have a series of tones in different shades that draw on a tone vector layer, and a set of softer bitmap brushes that draw on a bitmap tones layer. Finally, I just have the standard red revision brush. You can import these if you want to give them a try, or set up your own. Now that we've got our tools themselves squared away, let's look at some other really cool features that you can use to improve your drawing process. In the next video, we'll start by looking at our perspective guides. I'll see you there.